everyone. Well, I went and got myself another Miele Blizzard. Now the only reason I bought this because it was on offer. I got this for $199.99. It's one of the older models, the first generation Blizzard. So this has a 1200 watt motor, and I think that's the wattage of motor you'll be getting or have got in the US of A and Canada. But now our current Miele Blizzards are limited to 890 watts, so it's a little bit higher wattage. This is a Parquet model. It's the Blizzard CX1 Parquet SKCF3. So let's have a look at it. Now, unlike the first Blizzard I showed you, this doesn't have all the bells and whistles. It doesn't have the radio remote control. It has a dial on the actual cleaner. But it does come with an extra Parquet nozzle for your hard floors. So there it is. It's finished in black, this one. So out comes a newer style of wand. The latest bagged Miele I opened still had the traditional circular wand, but this is sort of squared off a bit on the later ones. But of course it's good Miele quality, and of course it's telescopic. There we are. So that's good. It seems to stretch to quite a nice length as well if you're a taller person or you want to clean up high. Let's get the cleaning tools. So this is the additional head. You can buy this as an option with any Miele, but this is the Parquet Twister. They do this as an option on other cleaners. You can also get the Parquet Twister XL, which is slightly larger, maybe about that much wider. If you've got very large areas of hard floor to clean, that will just cut down on your cleaning time. Nice soft brushes, and as you can see, they're castellated. I think that's the correct term. So there's gaps in between, which hopefully should help prevent some snow ploughing. Some larger particles may still get pushed towards the front, but the smaller of the larger particles will actually pass through the brushes and directly into the airstream. So that is that. Then we've got this Ecotech Plus, and I think the first time I saw this nozzle was on the first Blizzard I unboxed, but from what I remember, it was quite hard to push when the suction setting was quite high. A very wide area here for the suction. It's very deep suction path, deep and wide. It isn't opened up at the edges. This is to get the better carpet cleaning energy rating, performance rating. It's not open at either side here, but the channel does go very close to the edge. And you've also got your litter pickers for more difficult items such as pet hair. But from my experience of using a straight suction Miele for 1 month on my carpets, it did pick up the pet hair, but it was a lot of work, a lot of backwards to and froing, forward and back to get the pet hair up. It did reveal the pet hair, but it was very frustrating. So you can either, of course, buy one of the Miele turbo brushes to fit this, or go for the cat and dog version, whether it be the bagged Blizzard cat and dog, or any of the Bagless Blizzard cat and dog, or any of the bagged cat and dog. As far as I know, there's about 3 different cat and dog Mieles. There's the Blizzard cat and dog, there's the C3 cat and dog, the full-sized cylinder, and there's the more compact, I think it's a C2 cat and dog. If you want something a little smaller and lighter, they all come with a full-sized turbo brush. But this is sold as the Parquet, so it's mainly aimed at people with more floor than carpet. This will do carpets and floors. It's got the pedal to lower the brush, so there's a brush at the front and around the back and the sides there. So that's the Miele Ecotech Plus. Finally, now with this one, this is different. There should be 2 onboard accessories, unlike the other full-size Mieles that hold all 3 tools. The Blizzards only hold the crevice and upholstery tool. But this is different. This is a different handle to my first Blizzard. It doesn't have the radio remote, but it does have a built-in dusting brush, as you can see there. So you access that by pressing down on this catch, if I can do it. Doesn't seem to want to move. Might have to check the instruction book for that, because that is very stiff. I know it's new. I better check. I don't want to break that. I'll check the book before I pull that down. But that brush should, in theory, pop down so you can take off the tube. Once you finish your carpet cleaning, the tube will come off and the dusting brush comes down for your dusting jobs. It's a nice, comfortable looking handle. Bit of a textured panel, but it's not a rubberized grip, it's just textured plastic. But it's a nice shape to hold. And we've got the hose, which is quite short. I think it is shorter than my bagged Miele's. Yes, it is. It's tapered, of course, like most vacuum cleaners are these days, to increase the airflow. So it's thicker at this end than it is at this end. So obviously the thicker end, now the thicker end is normally the end that goes into the cleaner. Yes, it should go into the cleaner. So the thinner end, slightly thinner end, should go into the handle. But no, hey, that's odd. That's odd. Now I can't remember that, so I'll have to check back on my other Blizzard. That's the opposite way they normally do it. Normally when you have a tapered hose on a vacuum, the thicker end tends to be nearer the machine and the thinner end is nearer the handle, but on this one it's opposite. You've got the thicker end. Is that correct? Well, it must be, because this end wouldn't go in. So it is, yeah, it's pretty short. It is pretty thick, that hose. But I say it gets thinner as it goes to the machine end. That's odd. I really didn't notice that with the other Blizzard. We've got the, of course, instruction book. Quickly read out the energy label for you. So it gets a C rating for energy use, using on average 34.1 kilowatt hours per annum. Gets an A for dust emissions. It gets a B rating for dust pickup from carpet, so that's pretty good for a straight suction cleaner. Gets an A rating for dust pickup from a hard floor, and it's 76 decibels. Before I take the cleaner out of its box, I'll show you the dusting brush. For some reason I was pressing it in the wrong place. It slides out quite easily there, locks into position. So you've got a fairly short, relatively soft dusting brush. It's handy to have on board, but of course you can buy a separate dusting brush if you want, or Miele also do a longer dusting brush. And then when you've finished, it just pops back into position. Okay, let's take the cleaner out. Come on, well packed with some polystyrene, but not very eco-friendly. Always broken. Every Miele I've opened, there's always been some broken polystyrene. Here we go. Very smart looking vacuum in the black, but much bulkier. I will compare it, as I'm using my Miele C3 at the moment, the bagged Miele full-sized bag canister. I'll compare them side by side so you can see. It is still quite manoeuvrable though, as all Miele's are, because they have 3 or 4 casters. Now this one, being a little bit wider than the smaller models, it does have 4. These are dynamic drive casters as well, so it means they've got a little bit of suspension, you know, it's got like 4-wheel drive, and they do move in and out, so when you're transgressing across your thresholds from a carpet to a hard floor, or from a carpet onto a rug, it should follow you easily. And they're very robust and well made, very smooth running casters on a Miele. Just check the old label. So This in fact is an 890 watt version. So that's odd because it was listed as a 1200. So normally, well, I thought I'd got this cheaper because it was one of the older models, but it seems to be a current model because it's 890 watt, not a 1200 watt as was listed on the website. Never mind, I don't think it's going to make a huge difference between the 1200 watt version. So yes, it's very nicely styled in black. You've got your little slot at the side, which is your parking slot, which I'll show you now by popping on the Ecotech nozzle. So that would just slide into there to pause your vacuuming. There's also one at the back for storage, so that will slot in there. Once the hose is attached, you can push down the wand to its more compact shape and curl the hose around the top, so it just keeps it all together. Also makes it more convenient to carry because you can carry it with one hand. So there's that. Now here's the actual Bagless. Yes, it was quite a surprise to a lot of people. Thought it was if the pictures were released in April, we would all have thought it's an April Fool's joke, because Miele have always gone on about how bags are better, but obviously people nowadays tend to be buying bagless cleaners. So Miele, due to public demand, I think that's why they produced this. The Blizzard is their first bagless. It's got issues, as I had with my the first one I opened, but they get a Which Best Buy. The majority of the Blizzards in the UK, Best Buy by Which, and most of the people who seem to write reviews for these seem to be fairly happy. Now there's always been an issue, and I found doesn't seem as well made, the bin. Now this is the bin of the Blizzard. It looks a little bit complicated, and to me the plastics feel a little brittle. I know some people have had issues with clips breaking off. I did read a review, I think this clip had broken on one particular customer's Miele, and I don't think Miele were much help getting them a new clip or even a new bin. They would have to buy, they couldn't find the clip on its own, they would have had to buy a complete new bin assembly, which, as you can imagine, wouldn't be cheap. But anyway, that's what you press to open up. Obviously it's not going to open up fully, it's brand new, but normally, especially when there's dirt in there, that should open up a little bit more to empty the dirt out. So it's quite angular inside. There is a cyclone here with a mesh screen, and it is a bit similar to the Shark setup, which isn't the best setup, to be honest. It's really I'd say it's a dual cyclone type. And it didn't cope in my first demo of the Blizzard. It didn't cope with picking up a large amount of debris at once, but it's not designed to do that for regular vacuuming. In fact, I'll have to make this my vacuum of the month one month and use it myself for a whole month just as a regular cleaner and see how it copes, rather than giving it something that it's not really supposed to do. I do occasionally put down a lot of dirt to demonstrate how a vacuum will pick it up, but it's not a real world situation. It's just a visual thing. People like to see something visual. Obviously you're watching YouTube, it's a visual medium, so that's why I do it, but it's not the best judge. But that's why I have vacuum of the month, so I can use the machine for a whole month and not only see how well it performs, but if I have any convenience niggles with it, and that's why I do it. All this comes off for cleaning, which I'll show you properly, but there you go, that's the mesh screen. So that can, if you're picking up a lot of debris at once, especially if it's fibrous material, pet hair and fluff and things, that can just wrap around there and cut the suction off completely. But you can rinse that clean as long as it's thoroughly dry. And there's another little filter as well. So it's all, to me, I don't know, it's a bit of a faff to maintain. I won't force it, but I'm pretty sure that there's a little mesh screen in there that comes out too for cleaning. If you don't want maintenance, what I would say to you get a bagged vacuum. You still have to do some maintenance with a bagged vacuum, but it's nowhere near the maintenance you really should do with a bagless. You may have the convenience of not having to buy dust bags, but you do have a dirtier emptying system, and you do have filters and mesh screens and things that you need to ensure are kept clear, otherwise you'll have reduced performance. There's another filter as well, a HEPA pleated filter in here, and that comes out like this. Now this all comes apart. I'll do a proper maintenance video of a Blizzard at some point. This all comes apart for cleaning. You can see in here there's a pleated HEPA filter there. Now the machine does have what Miele call comfort clean, and basically that will flick dust off this filter. This whole filter rotates, if we can see. Well, the filter doesn't rotate. There's a part inside. You won't be able to see it rotating. If you see this cog on the top, when it's in the machine and you press the comfort clean button, that cog will rotate, and it is supposed to, the gubbins inside this filter is supposed to flick off the dust, and it'll fall into the bottom of this chamber, which does also come apart, and you need to clean it. It's washable, you can rinse this, but you need to leave it 24 hours before putting it back in the machine. But from time to time you can press the comfort clean button. Now the Miele I had, the Blizzard before this, would do that automatically if it sensed that there was a restriction in airflow from the filter, and I assume this will be the same. So that goes in, and then it locks into place like that. Here are the onboard tools. A bit of a backward step. Miele were never known for doing full-size cleaning tools. They were always pretty small, but that is very, very small. And it doesn't really even have the litter pickers. Instead of the velour strips you'd normally find on an upholstery nozzle, it's just got a textured rubber piece either side of the suction inlet, which is supposed to help dislodge your pet hair. Of course, if you want, you can buy mini turbo brushes for this Miele as well. They do a full-size mini turbo and a mini turbo as well, so there's plenty of options, but obviously it's going to add to the cost. And then a very short and stubbly crevice tool. Again, Miele do extra long crevice tools if you want that, but they're all optional accessories. Now that goes in that way, does it? There we go, that's in. So yeah, that's the bagless unit. As I said, all you do, press on that to empty it, and then it should just pop back in the cleaner. Just push it, push the handle down, and that should be in place. Let's have a quick look at the controls. So on the top of the cleaner you've got your foot operated on-off switch. You've got your comfort cord rewind button. So basically that means you only have to press that once, either with your hand or your foot, and the cable rewind. You don't have to keep your foot on the pedal like you do with many cleaners. Just one touch and the cable will rewind into the machine. You've got your comfort clean button, which I believe will illuminate when it's doing the comfort clean cycle. The machine will turn off and you'll hear it. I'll do a quick demo of that happening. And then you've got your suction control. So it's got 4 stepped suctions, but you can obviously position this in any setting in between. So you've got your max setting for your hard floors, slightly lower power for your carpets, fitted carpets, and then that's the suggested setting for your rugs, and then minimum for doing your lightweight dusting and curtain cleaning. So the hose fits into the front here. Just push it and it should click into position, and it swivels on the cleaner end and of course on the handle end, so it shouldn't get tangled up. But as I said, it is pretty short. It's definitely shorter than the hose on my bagged Miele C3. And then of course we can attach, you can either attach any of the tools directly to the handle end, the crevice tool and the upholstery nozzle. Of course you can use the built-in dusting tool, but for cleaning your carpets and your floors you need to attach the wand. So that just pushes in and it will click into position like that, and to release it you've got a button here, and the same on the other end too. you've got the button, so it's not going to move, it's not going to dislodge when you're cleaning. And it also means it's easier to move. If you've got friction fit tools, sometimes they can get stuck together and they're really very hard to part. But with a system like Miele's, you just press the button and it comes away freely. And again, equally, it locks into position very firmly. So there we go. And of course, when you start your cleaning, you can adjust the handle to the required height. Okay, let's plug it in and see how noisy it is. I've selected the fitted carpet suction setting on this Miele Blizzard, so I'm just going to see how easy or difficult it is to push this Ecotech Plus floor head. It's easier than some, but it is still quite difficult to push. Again, I would always recommend you get the cat and dog version, because you will find the turbo nozzle is a lot easier to push on your carpets. It will add to the noise level somewhat, but if you've got mainly hard floors, you might find this one's okay, but I think really it is quite difficult. I'll just try it on max, which obviously is going to get the best dust pickup performance. Little bit harder to push. You could see it actually lifting up the carpet, so you can tell that there's a decent amount of suction, and actually the handle does make it pretty comfortable to use. But yeah, if you've got any dexterity problems, if you have trouble using a regular vacuum, you might find that this Miele Blizzard is a little bit hard to push. I've just put down a little bit of dirt on my carpet so we can see how this Miele is likely to perform. But of course, as I said earlier, this is an extreme case. The machine isn't really designed to pick up a lot of debris in one go, but you're not going to have this sort of dirt on your carpet. So especially the larger clumps, the dog hair and fluff, that could get wrapped around the inner mesh of the cyclone and block the machine quickly. But we'll see, we'll give it a go. It's just as a visual demonstration for you. I'm going to use it on the fitted carpet suction setting. Not bad, but not perfect. There is some loose leaf tea amongst this debris, and I can still see with just 2 passes it hasn't made a complete clean sweep. It looks quite good on the viewfinder, and you probably think that that's quite a good result, but close up it would need at least 2 more passes, I think. It has left quite a lot, to be honest, of the smaller particles. They're still on the carpet, but obviously look, this is an extreme test. It's done fairly well. It does get a B rating, but that's just for dust pickup from carpets. Doesn't take into account pet hair pickup or any other type of debris that you might have on your carpets. The EU energy labels are a rough guide, but they're not perfect. But anyway, it's not done a bad job. I might as well pick up the rest of this and see if it will pick up the rest of this without clogging the inner cyclone. So as you can see, the Miele Blizzard did pick up everything eventually, but the pet hair and fluff was a little bit more difficult to remove. I had to go over it several times. So as I said, if you want better pet hair pickup, get the cat and dog version, or you'll have to buy the optional turbo head. So I didn't notice a dramatic loss in suction. We're not up to the max line. Oof. There's a lot of muck in here. That's actually, I think, where the dirt enters the cleaner. Yes, it is. So obviously that is going to be dirty. There is a seal around there. As you can see, there's quite a bit of dust inside that chamber. I'll just take a look at the fine dust filter. Now, according to the instructions, you can actually rinse water through here. So just pour water through here using the tap, just cold water, and you can swirl it around to help dislodge the dirt. For a more thorough clean, you need to take the top off. Miele say you should only really have to maintain this once or twice a year, which I'm a bit dubious about. But as I said, it will automatically use the Comfort Clean if it does detect a drop in airflow, because this filter is very dirty. But the dust from that will fall into the bottom of this container, so you do need to take it apart. And I will do a separate video of this, but there it is, there's the filter. And after that very small demonstration, you can see already, but obviously that demo was probably maybe a week's worth of dirt from your whole house that I put down. It's not typical. But as you can see, there is still, I haven't used the Comfort Clean feature actually after that demo, so that might have removed some of that. This can be cleaned under running water, but Miele say allow 24 hours for it to thoroughly dry. And you can just see inside there the mechanism, the little cage that rotates. You can see it now better, look. You can see it working now. When I take it out, you can see what it's doing, and you might have picked up the dust that's coming off that. Not much dust, but you can see that's what it does when it's in the machine, obviously that way up. And you can see dust falling from it. So I can see that that Comfort Clean feature does actually work. When that's in the machine, that's what will happen. The dust will just fall from the bottom. But as I said, it will collect in the bottom of this. You can rinse this whole unit under running water as well. So it's, you know, you'll notice a drop in performance, but the Comfort Clean system will come on to keep this relatively clean, I would have thought. But it's always best to maintain it properly if you want to keep your machine operating efficiently. That will lock back in place. So as I said, everything here you can rinse underwater. You can even clean the actual dust container. And Miele say you can use some mild detergent to clean the actual dust container, but when it comes to the actual mesh screen here, just use clean running water for that. And also the fine mesh screen that which we can't see at the moment, but it's inside here. I showed you earlier in the video, that pops out. You can clean that, but with water only. The only part that Miele say you can use some mild detergent on is the actual bin itself. So it is nice that you can wash everything. With some machines you can't clean out parts of them, you can't get them wet, but with this one you can. But of course, with anything, make sure it is 100% dry before using your Miele again. So yes, there is more maintenance. If you want a Miele, and they're good machines, they're well-built machines, and you have to have Bagless, this is really the only thing you can go for. But personally, I prefer the bagged Mieles. They're a little bit more convenient to handle, and there's none of this. There's none of this maintenance. You are recommended to change the filter, the main filter of a Miele, about once a year. But apart from that, and obviously changing the bag, there's very little maintenance to do with a bagged Miele. So you have the convenience of not having to buy bags, not have to go and find which bag to use and the cost, but you've got to accept that there will be extra maintenance. Now, which way does that go in? There we are. That's it. So that locks back in there. I'll give this a clean out before I put it away. But I hope that's given you a rough idea of what this cleaner's like. Well, that's the end of my unboxing and brief demonstration of this Miele Blizzard CX1 Parquet power line. As I said earlier, if you've got pets, I would go for the cat and dog version, but if you can try them out in a shop before you buy, I would do so, because this machine might be rather heavy and bulky for some people. If you have any questions or comments about this cleaner, please comment below, and I'll see you all for the next video very soon. Bye for now.